Is best of 5, and it doesn't feel like we're in the second game here, Stress. No. But we do have Giants up against Reason Gaming. After a 56-minute game, Giants were able to take the win.
That was a back and forth game.
Yes, it was.
That's the definition of back and forth. I'm still not sure what was going on. We had Baron calls at like 30 minutes in. We had no Baron calls at like 55 minutes in. Yep. The analyst said a lot about the breakdown on this game, and it was a very messy game. Decisions all over the place. A lot of good decisions, a lot of not so good decisions. I think our analyst desk went completely over those already, and we are just getting all the players into the lobby to get into game 2. But right, what do we focus on here? What do Reason fix? What do they change around in this game? They first picked Java in the last game. Will they opt for it again? It didn't really have the impact early game that Zayu wanted. Yeah,
I think like early game definitely has to be one of the big focal points for Reason Gaming, because they prioritized the Java and it didn't work out. Even late game he was 2 and 12.
Yeah.
And yes, he was almost fully built, but he was the only person I think in the entire game who wasn't out of the carries and people who are not supports, who wasn't fully built even at that stage in the game, because he was so far behind in the early and mid game. So we'll have to see if they do change that up, because yeah, that was an issue for them. Because if they were further ahead in the early game, when they had that big swing and momentum, they might have been able to finish out.
Yeah, they may very well have been able to, but you can see Giants on your screen clearly must be happy with winning that game, but I think that's the kind of game that you kind of also feel pretty depressed about winning. The fact that you didn't close it out earlier on. But we are into the picks and bans here between Giants and Reason Gaming. I'm not expecting too much different here out of the picks and bans. Irelia, Zed are going to be banned out, I would imagine, by Giants.
Yeah, indeed. Zed comes out as the first ban here by Giants, and they will be, of course, swapping up to the blue side. This is actually the first blue side game they've had in quite a while.
Yeah.
Because they chose to go with the red side every single time in the series against H2K. But there we go. LeBlanc, Jace, and Syndra, all of the mid lane bans, and Jace as well, specifically at Take Fun.
Yeah, so after the last game, they really didn't enjoy playing against the Jace. Just was able to poke out too much, take too many objectives from it, and you know, I guess that's Giants saying we really don't want to play against it again. We're not going to first pick it. Jarvan is available, however, after that last pick.
Yeah, there we go. Instant lock this time by Giants. Frederick will be taking that one away. That's one of his favorite champions. He'll be taking that. Irelia aims at Kuban. Xerath aims at Pepinero. What's more to say?
Well, something we can say is about the support role down in the bottom lane. Rydell had an exceptional game in that last game. Really just set up so many kills, so many good decisions being made, and he's not going to get Thresh this time, which should default him to the Alistar. Yeah,
Kuban takes that away. They'll, in fact, lock in both of their bot laners for Corki and Fresh coming in here for Stella and Libic. And then Giants, as you mentioned, yeah, we'll see what they do with the AD carry, but when we look at Rydell, it's Fresh Alistar. And then that will probably put him on the Alistar.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a lot of other options. He can go for something that's a lot more standard, but we know when it comes to the champions he feels confident playing in, and when you're potentially 2 games away from the LCS, you certainly want to be on your confident champions. They are still available. Top laners, Nara is still available, should really be want to go for it, but we know he's favored not picking it. The Ahri for Pepinero, again, available. They picked that early in the last game. Will they opt for it again? Yes, they will.
Oh, there you go. Alistar comes out for Rydell, and there we go. Pepinero again with the Ahri pick coming in here. What hasn't been banned, though, is LeBlanc. So we'll see if Take Fun decides to pick that one up.
Well, I mean, he would if it wasn't the first ban out from Reason Gaming. It's okay. That was a crazy game in game 1 of our series. It's okay, Pulse. Don't worry about it. It won't be a LeBlanc in the middle lane. Options still available. Lissandra still up. Could be a flex pick here that Reason could look to go for. Maybe put Take Fun on something like the Orianna. We know he's played games on it before. And into Ahri is, you know, a bit of a skill matchup. This was actually banned away from them in game 1 of the series back on Thursday. The Fizz was an option, and another champion that is available here that wasn't previously is that Pantheon. We'll see exactly what gets locked in.
Yeah, Pantheon does get locked in here, and Fizz is in my head what I meant when I said LeBlanc, because you look at his top 3 champions, and it's Zed, it's LeBlanc, and it's Fizz. And the Fizz is being hovered over. We'll see if it gets locked in, and there it goes. Okay, Fizz comes out.
A little bit of a danger with locking Fizz in. They need something from the top lane that has a lot of wave clear. If they don't, it will be difficult the later into the game they go. But Fizz does really just have a lot of early game presence. You can just get a lot of kills early on and snowball from there. As soon as you get that Lich Bane as well, you're just very difficult to deal with, especially on Take Fun. Take Fun has played this in so many games, and maybe this is the time they need a champion like that to really pull Reason through.
Yeah, all about getting those first couple items though, before he gets to the stage where he can start deleting people. And Giants are absolutely taking their time with their final 2 picks.
They are. They're looking for AD carry in top lane, so maybe we'll see the Sivir again. We've seen Graves as well. Adriel's also opted for Jinx into the Corki matchup, and they first picked Jax for a top lane yesterday and picked it blind and ended up against a Renekton. That could be a bit of a risky pickup here, but would also, if Reason were to opt for Renekton, would give them not a lot of wave clear again. There's the Jax, and I think that's one of the options that they're looking to go for here. Really force Reason onto something that doesn't allow them to get away with that Fizz pick.
Yeah, so Jax comes out for Whirly B. We saw this in 2 games from him in yesterday, and then that was again taken away from him in the final game. And then Ezreal now comes in from Adri. I'm not sure if we've seen him play with that before, because we've had the Sivir, we've had the Jinx, and then of course like the standard meta picks coming out. But Ezreal, maybe a little bit of a new one here from Adri, bringing that into the composition with Alistar in the bot lane. And now Reason Gaming, all they need to do is bring in their final pick here.
Yeah, Rumble could be an option. It would be very heavy AP composition, only really Pantheon, not bringing a ton of magic damage with him as well. But there are a couple of options here for Reason. Depends what they want to opt for against a Jax. Jax is a champion that the Giants have been confident on picking up, and a lot of people have been saying you can just punish him and don't ever let him get to that late game phase.
So Maokai comes in as the final pick here from Reason Gaming. That'll be thrown in the top lane, going up against Jax here. So we'll see if he plays the same sort of game as against like an Irelia, where it's just like contain this pick before it becomes that time bomb which explodes and your entire team dies.
Yeah, containment is somewhat easy on Maokai, I guess, but at the same time you have to punish a Jax. You can't really just say, okay, well, I'll let you kind of go along, because you know that ends badly. As soon as Jax gets to the late game, very, very difficult to deal with. And it's on Giants to make sure Whirly B can get himself through the first 20 minutes of the game safely. And Reason, on the other hand, they have, a fair amount of AoE and, engage potential. They got the Pantheon ultimate, Maokai for the team fight presence as well. We know how Corki can do there. Giants, on the other hand, they've got the Cow, they've got Jarvan, they've got good engage potential.
Yeah, they do indeed have the Cow, but they also have the Ezreal in there as well, so they'll have some across-map presence going into this game. So Giants in the last game, shaky in terms of decision-making, but pretty much their lanes and just how they were mechanically was absolutely fine. Now with Whirly B on his Jax again, it'd be interesting to see if they change up their tactics, if Whirly B goes all in on that split push, but they're going to need a little bit more time to get that pick rolling.
Yes, indeed. And, their early game, their decision-making in the later game was a little bit iffy. Certainly, Giants took control of the early game in the last game and really just moved around the map very well to put Reason behind early on, but I think we are about ready to get into game 2 of this series.
Yeah, well guys, make sure to hit us up on social media at LOL Esports, because using the hashtag LCS Expansion. Now in the second game here of this best of 5, the very last best of 5 we have here in this tournament between Giants and Reason Gaming. And let's see how this game pans out, because both teams are launching off the starting blocks into their river. And will we see any early game action? Well, everyone has fanned out, so that would indicate no for now.
What we have seen from Jax, and very similarly from Maokai, though, is that early camp start to get the level 2. Make sure that you get up to that top lane and not end up behind. So I wonder whether both teams will go for that. We'll take a look at what Kuban and Whirly B are doing as we get closer to the time that jungle camps end up spawning. But you have to feel both teams. Have they centered themselves? Have they really brought this back and stopped the nerves from taking hold? Because both teams were close in the last game, and a little bit of damage from that ward spotting out Celiva. Have they shaken off the nervousness?
Yeah, Celiva there should not be going into a career in dodgeball. Takes most of that harassment to the face from those Mystic shots, and they will place down that ward, knowing that the AD carry isn't there. Kuban, meanwhile, will be trying to take away this Raptor camp. Should be able to take that down fairly easily. Will allow him that extra level 2 up against Whirly B in the top lane. We'll also see if he goes back to base and then teleports top lane, or just takes the short route there.
Whirly will get spotted out on the wards. They know he's not heading up into that top lane, so Kubon should be able to get up there with that added experience right now. And I wonder whether Whirly is just going to try and set this wave up for himself. Yeah, he's going to move into the wave very early on and try and make sure he can, you know, just set it up the way he wants it as he gets into this lane.
Yeah, he will do that. And yep, Kuban will go back to base and he will utilize his teleport to get back up there. Zayu, meanwhile, is starting up on his Krugs, so he'll be going towards the bottom side of the map. And likewise, Frederick is doing the same thing, taking up his blue buff here, but now into the bottom lane. We do see Libic now on Fresh, taking that away from Rydal, as Rydal was causing massive issues for them all the way through the game, and Libic can also land hooks. It pulls them into the team, but that also allows Rydal to land a pulverize onto both of them. But this is not the same aggressive lane and initial dominance that we've seen from Giants in every other game they've played.
Yeah, it's not quite the same, but they will have a big spike around level 6. They're going to have a lot of damage that's going to come out, and obviously Rydal can tank up a lot from that situation, but right now, Pepinero in the middle lane is pushing up quite a lot into Take Fun here, and you can see that Zayu wants to kind of punish him for it. He is already, well, he's level 2, looking for a fairly early gank here as Pepinero does just maneuver back. Here comes Zayu.
Oh, flash and the stun as well. Take Fun comes in, lands the playful trickster, but he's charged up underneath the turret. The hook though from Libic drags him back in, lands the ignite, and first blood will go to Libic.
Not perhaps the target they would have wanted to, but they'll take it anyway. That's a lot expended though out from Reason to get that. It's a good play. Celiva just has to make sure he stays safe in that bottom lane, but exploiting Pepinero's pushing up in that middle lane.
Yeah, Rydal though in the bottom lane tries to get in range for the pulverize combo, but Libic is back there to meet him. So bottom lane is a slight CS differential as Libic moves into the top side to pick up that kill. Now Zayu as well. Frederick trying to take this one away. Zayu is out of mana, but he does have the red buff, and that's enough to deter Frederick out of this situation. Libic has come up, so has Celiva, but he's still trying to smite this away. He doesn't have vision. Zayu takes it, and Frederick kind of wastes a bit of time.
Yeah, Frederick spotted that Zayu on that gank was only level 2, only had red buff, so knew he could go and invade. The problem was he didn't quite do it fast enough, and Zayu made sure he could take his own buff. A lot of trading in that top lane, though.
Yeah, Whirly comes in here, lands the counter-strike. Pepinero also moving up to the top lane, so Kuban will have to make himself scarce, head back to that top turret, but he's recalling maybe not in the best of situations. He is being too greedy. Pepinero shows his face in top lane, level 4 versus level 3. Foxfires comes through, here comes an Orb Deception, flashes out the way of the charm, but has to use a summoner spell he would have liked to keep.
Yeah, Kuban knew he had to flash in a slightly different way there, otherwise, you know, Pepinero, we've seen him predict the flashes with the charms there, so Kuban, that's, I guess, a successful roam out from Pepinero. The question is, how much is he losing from that? And the answer is not so much right now. It's only a couple of CS lead for Take Fun after that kill, but Take Fun finds Frederick with a ward, will be able to back away.
Yeah, not quite in range, especially with Take Fun still with Playful Trickster. Throws down the flag, sending a message. Rydal moving into the mid lane as well, maybe looking for a gank to happen, but to know that's warded. And yeah, that has been pinged out, so he'll move away again. Zayu moving through his jungle. Has gone back to base, picked up his Trailblazer now on Pantheon, as opposed to Frederick picking up the Stalker's Blade. But now we take a look at the bot lane, and look at Libic. He's picked up the mobility boost before anything else.
Yeah, he's already spent a lot of time out of lane, and he wants to roam even more. We've seen this a lot on supports here on 421, and one of the problems with him spending time out of lane is that it's actually given Adri a bit of a CS lead here, and you can see he kind of has to be very careful in that bottom lane now that Libic is around the mid lane, and Libic is spending so much time out of lane right now, and that's gonna really affect that bottom lane matchup here, as Giants are just comfortable to sit there.
Yeah, now you can see a more significant CS lead being accrued by Adri in the bottom lane. Taking a look at the gold here as well, only actually around 100 gold, so it's not massive, but it will start to increase more and more as Libic just sits in different lanes. Rydal now heading into the opposing jungle in the lower red jungle, looping all the way around, trying to get a gank on to Take Fun. He'll be heading into the lane, but Zayu is off to the left-hand side, ready for him.
Yeah, Xayah wants to go in.
Yeah, they will go for this engage. Here comes a spear shot. Heartseeker strike as well. Rydell tries to land the head, but maybe onto Take Fun. Knocks him into tower range. Only lands one tower shot onto him, and Reason Gaming just get another kill.
Yeah, an easily worked gank there. They knew Flash not available from Pepinero from that earlier gank. Kuban getting dropped low in that top lane as well, though. Bottom lane is the engage.
Adri taking some punishment, but it's all about Kuban with the flag and drag. Oh, the Flash as well with the mechanics. Knocks him up, picks him up, and takes him down.
And that is Kuban just overextending into this Jax lane. You can see Jax and Maokai still fairly even on support between the CS between the two. Very interesting that Kuban would push up that far, but Libic's about to get spotted by Rydell.
Yeah, puts the lantern over the wall. Celev will come into the mix. And level 4 Libic zones away Rydell, pushing them back into the lane. Lands the hook as well here. Will follow through as well. Maybe looking for the ignite. Yes, he does. And the flay as well. He's dropping low. Comes in with a triumphant roll. Maybe that's enough. Valkyrie over the wall. He will survive by the skin of his teeth.
Celev just needs maybe a couple of rockets here if he can land it. He has the big one stored. But Rydell is behind his minions, so cannot really do too much. But so much damage now from Libic and Celebi when they actually land those hooks. And Adri and Rydell, with Rydell not yet level 6, can't survive through that. But speaking of not surviving, perhaps Pepinero
will use Spirit Rush and Jukes back into Xayah. He does have the teleport coming in from the top lane. The Orb of Deception doing so much damage. Empowered Leap Strike as well. Perfect teleport comes in for the kill and the assist.
Yeah, as soon as the teleport went down, Reason just looked like they didn't really want the fight. They kind of half wanted it at that situation. Take Fun now with no wave clear just has to sit back and let this turret start to fall, and actually it's going to get pressured out by quite a lot here. Flash Charm.
Oh, Flash Charm on to Take Fun. Walker with the flag and drag as well. He goes down. Giants are all over this. Kuban teleports as well using that. And so we'll keep the tower alive, but 8 minutes into the game, are Giants turning their attention to Dragon?
Yeah, Giants look to be setting up for it, but they don't actually want it yet. They have got a good advantage on the map, and again, Frederick has had more of an impact in this game than Xayah has early on. Nice pulverize will knock up 2, but Reason look like they want to turn.
Yeah, entices them in. He will go down for the pleasure, but now Burly B in from the top side is charging up the counter-strike, and Adri comes in for the kill. They can't get the second kill onto Libic, so it's a 1-for-1, but the AD carry for the support is a good trade. Grand Skyfall coming into the mid lane on top of Pepinero. Kuban trying to get in range as well. Does land the stun and will be juking out of the way using Twisted Advance. Still putting down the damage and the Arcane Smash. Kills left, right and center. This is a very aggressive game.
Yeah, it's very aggressive, but at the same time, it's a very sloppy game so far. You could see that Libic down in the bottom lane in that bottom lane engage actually moved out of range on the Lantern, and from there couldn't really rescue Celebi. But both teams will take these small little trades and objectives, but right now, Reason Gaming ever so slightly behind in this game.
They are, and you can see that in the mid lane here. Pepinero 50 farm to 38 and is well on his way to Morella Nomicon. Has both of those components to Forbidden Idol and Fiend's Codex. So far, Take Fun must have some gold in his back pocket, only around 500 in fact. So he is working his way towards that sheen, but he is significantly behind his opponent. 200 gold, you can see there on your screen. Now Rydell moving into Libic. Pokes him in the face, does have Flay, of course, for the charged extra damage. And now just everyone taking their buffs. Whirly B is still in the mid lane, though.
He is, and getting that kill on Whirly B earlier on is really going to help this Jax scale into the game. He is behind on CS because Kuban has had time in the top lane just to kind of sit there and shove it in again and again. And actually, with Pepinero heading up to the top lane, this is a bit of a temporary swap between the two. Pepinero knew that he could get there in time to save the wave and didn't let all that experience and gold go to waste.
Kuban was already on his way out. He goes back to base, doesn't have teleport, so he will take the long route back to lane. Has the components of his Rod of Ages, has both the Catalyst and the Blasting Wand here, so he'll be getting that fairly soon. Xayah and Libic, though, clear out this pink ward, moving into the jungle now. The red buff is up, so they may try to take that one away, but with Rydell coming from the bot side, Frederick from the top, not sure if they'll be able to do so, but they are making a very aggressive play, trying to make a statement. Rydell comes in from the bot lane here, pulverizes the ground as well, just showing he's very angry.
Yep, very angry that they couldn't close the last game out earlier than they wanted to. But, you know, there was a lot in that last game, back and forth. And this game has started out very similar as well. It's a very even game between these two. No real big advantages allowing for a very early dragon, but we're getting to that kind of time. As the next big pick could very well signal the first dragon of the game. And Reason Gaming getting a bit of damage down to that turret. That should hopefully help them out a little bit with this bottom lane matchup. But another thing that could help is Pantheon. He's about to ultimate in.
Giants have stepped too far forwards. Adri is dropping low. Spear shot comes out. Zayu is knocked underneath the tower. He should be going down for this. He will be flashing away, but actually gets out of the range. Frederick comes in for the counter guy. Comes in with a cataclysm as well. Picks up one, picks up two. Now is looking for Lipic. He has him in his sights, but he's going to be drifting away. A 2 for 2.
Zayu just got blasted under the turret and really just took so much damage that he tried to get out, tried to flash, wasn't quite enough. They do pick up 2 kills on either side from it, but that's a lot of kills now going over to Frederick. He's 4-0-0, already has that Warrior's Enchant finished on the Stalker's Blade. Over on the other side, you can see 2, 2, and 3. This game has been about the junglers, and both have been able to get into this game a little bit here, but really, just Frederick is coming out top again.
Oh, take fun in the mid lane, uses Chum the Waters, hits Pepinero regardless, but he was able to Spirit Rush away from it, so he didn't get the slow down and couldn't go for that engage. Ryder was there just in case, so was Libic in fact. Both of the supports have been roaming a lot in this game, both have picked up the mobility boots, and we'll be fighting over these wards. Libic can't even get in close. Middle tower goes down to that caster minion, and the supports are still fighting over.
They are, but I think they're going to have a fish joining them very soon.
Oh, Box comes up, will be slowing Rydell down. Unbreakable Will comes up, drags him in once again, but with Unbreakable Will, Rydell will not be dying in a hurry, and it's not worth Take Fun's time.
No, it isn't, especially when he's sat on about 1,500 gold as well, so he needs to get back and spend some of that money, get some more items and make himself a little bit stronger right now, because Ari is actually fairly close to a Morellonomicon as well. As soon as she goes back, that will be completed, and that is a big damage spike for Ari, and Fizz kind of needs to be on par with that with regards to how much damage he can deal in these small skirmishes that have been going on. But again, every time Reason takes something, Giants answer back, and vice versa. We're 6-6. 1,000 gold, however, is the lead in favor of Giants, and it's coming from a fair number of their lanes. Mid and bottom lane are ahead. Top lane is in favor of Reason.
Yeah, Frederick tried to gank in the top lane, but he was spotted out by a sapling. Zayu now trying to do the same thing, but Willie B is aggressing here because Frederick's coming in from the bot side. He'll flash away. Frederick still has his flag and drag to get out of dodge if necessary, but Willie B, well, burns his flash in that engage, and Kubon still has his own, but he'll again also head back to base.
And neither jungler really wanting that engage as soon as they saw each other, and that tells you a lot about this matchup. Both junglers are fairly strong right now, and nobody really wants to roll that dice for who is going to come out on top. Mid tower falling very early on in this game actually does cause some problems for Reason, with the fact they have fairly low wave clear. They're relying now on Maokai and Corki to clear out any kind of minion waves later and later into the game. So they need to try and punish Pepinero from pushing up quite this far, though, because he's having free reign currently in this mid lane matchup, and looks like that's what Kubon wants to do right now. He was looking to roam into the mid lane, but got spotted out on a ward through the topside jungle, I believe. Yeah,
so 12 kills have gone down in this game, 14 minutes in. Seems like a lot, but so far it's mostly been just small scraps, small skirmishes. Dragon is still alive, and this, at least when the Giants are in the game, is one of the more slower dragons that we're going to be seeing heading into this one. They do have that 1 tower advantage, which has resulted in around 1,000 gold advantage, but it's not huge.
No mid laner really wanted to back for a long time there. Ari was shoving Fizz in, making sure that he couldn't back without Ari dealing a lot of damage to the turret, and again, they're actually going to stay in this lane matchup, and neither of them has really had the time to buy any items. Both now well over 2,000 gold. But maybe the first dragon play will come up soon, because Rydell is pushing quite far to get deep wards into the jungle here of Reason and just kind of track as many people as they can, even getting one down onto the Merc Wolves there. And they're going to take this blue buff away.
Rydell is zoning away Celeber down here. Also finds Libic. There's a flash pulverize, and Zayu coming in from the top side as well. And Brickball will be popped, and again, that signals to them they don't want any more of the cow. Comes in with the death sentence, but Giants were able to take away the blue. But here comes the Manthian ultimate from the skies, comes in from top of Adri. Also Kubon teleports into the fight. Chum the Waters has been used on the AD carry as well. Rydell's dropping low, and he should be in range to be taken down. Spear shot from the side takes him down. Also his support will be dropping. Pepinero, does he have his ultimate? No, he doesn't. He's already used it. He doesn't even use his flash because he knew he was dead. 3-0. Reason Gaming now aggress onto the dragon.
Yeah, Reason will capitalize on a little bit of miscommunication out of Giants. Flash Pulverize came out very early on in that fight, and Alistair was on his own, had to use the ultimate, and that had timed out as we got further and further into that fight. But they're going to trade the Dragon for that top lane tower. So Jax doing what Jax does, split pushing in another lane.
Yeah, there's always a Jax on the tower somewhere, but they were trading that Dragon for the tower. So in terms of global gold, that will put Giants ahead once again. But Reasoning Gaming are setting themselves up for a late game play. It's a long-term investment from them. And Giants, with that extra tower, now puts them at 2 over their opponents, only around the 700 gold advantage, so it has been equalized and stabilized by Reason Gaming so far. You can see that in some of the lanes as well, despite Giants basically being ahead in every single category apart from top lane. Those global objectives have been helping them out a bunch.
Yeah, they have indeed. And you know what? I'm not really expecting too much of a stable game out of these two teams right now. And if last game was anything to go by, I don't think we're going to get one. Interesting thought here is Ezreal picked up a tier but picked it up late. He's actually been picked off. Maybe. Ooh. He didn't pick it up as his first item in the lane. He started building towards Trinity Force and then picked up a tier at the same time. So very interesting that he's delaying that damage spike later into the game.
Yeah. It was his choice here, and Celever in the bottom lane will be taking up this turret, just allowing it to destroy as many minions as possible, trying to deny that from Adri. He is able to farm from long range with Mystic Shard, hook over the wall. Very close as it hits a minion as it walks into lane. And bottom tower goes down. So the first tower goes up for Reason Gaming. We'll be bringing the goal total dead even in this game, as close as you can get. Reason Gaming, what they need to do is try and convert that into a bigger advantage, because last game they had it for so long, but it just fell out of their hands.
Yeah, it did. Did I say Celeber when I was talking about a tier, or did I say Ezreal? I meant Ezreal, which is Adri, just in case I need to clarify.
Just to clarify, yeah.
I had one of those moments where I was like, I'm sure I said Celeber somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what you meant.
Yeah,
but,
well, as long as people know what I meant, but I want to be clear on things, because I know sometimes I say silly things that don't quite sound about right. But
like Baron being Dragon and Dragon being Baron.
Oh dear, Whirly B up in that top lane is having a good start for himself. And you know, I was speaking to players yesterday in the player lounge, and a lot of people were saying from the H2K lineup, they said, if you pick Jax against us, we are going to punish you for it, because Jax as a first pick is very easy to punish. And for now, he has gone somewhat unpunished at this point. 145 CS 103 is a great start for Jax. Trinity Force already completed. Makes it a big problem for Reason Gaming. They're going to have to start dealing with this Jax sometime soon, and it potentially is coming a little bit late. You kind of need to deal with Jax early on, and this Maokai pick, as you said, will contain Jax in lane for a while, but hasn't quite done that even.
Yeah, like the window of opportunity is still absolutely open for Reason Gaming, but they haven't really done anything to shut him down. He's farming well, 150 farm, has the Trinity Force, and really all he needs to do is pick up the Blade of the Ruin King, and he's the Jax that you hate to play against. So you have to feel that Reason Gaming will have to do something in the near future. Dragon isn't even up for at least another over 2 minutes now. And one game up Giants in this series. Reason Gaming, they really can't let another game go here, because that will make it almost impossible for them to climb that mountain. Because Giants, again, in the previous series, went 3-0 against them, and they do not want that to happen again, at least to pick up at least a game against them.
Reason kind of just swapped their focus a little bit more in this game, and Zayu has spent a lot more time in that mid lane. You can see 0, 4, and 2 on Pepinero's stat line. And he's struggled right now to get into the game. He's got a Morellonomicon, he's got the Needlessly Large Rod, which means he does at least have some kind of utility, but that's not the Deathfire Grasp that you'll typically see out of Ari first. So he's had to kind of go for this less single target damage build, and Pantheon Ultimate is coming out in that top lane. Oh. And Jax just gets away.
Yeah, takes down the minions. Wasn't the most value ultimate in the world, but the minions are pushing in, and Willoughby has to try and play tower defense as it's dropping fairly quickly. May fall down. There it goes. The caster minions pick it up. So 2-2 turrets now. Reason Gaming take the lead in terms of gold very slightly.
Pushing up.
Yeah, and there's the flash pulverize as well. He'll be trying to knock him into his ally of Frederick. The chilling spike comes out. There comes the cataclysm as well. Does he have a way out of the situation? Well, he does have the flash. Now Fizz comes in from the top side. Another rocket comes in, and this has just turned into a full-blown fight. AD carry goes down. In fact, make that the support. Now the AD carry goes down. Adju will be dropping. They're trying to follow up onto Pepper Nero and Frederick, but they should be able to get out of this alive.
Yeah, Celevo was just trying to deter a lot of the push there from Giants, but I don't think this is over.
Oh, the flash and the stun will be jumping over the wall with his own flash, but that's given time for Reason Gaming to loop on the bottom side of that Raptor camp, and they find 3 kills. Willie B is still on your towers.
Celevo just managed to flash over that wall, gets himself away, and they used a lot in that engage out of Giants to try and get anything, and Willie B, he just took that tower down. He did not even care that Libic was there, and why should he?
Yeah, well, he will pay his life for this one as Pantheon is coming in from the backside, almost takes down Libic, so he burns a summoner as well. Probably the best trade he could have gotten out of that, so he takes down the summoner, he takes down the turret, and that actually overall did even up that trade.
Well, it's his first death of the game, and you can see how much of an effect Whirly B is already having. 22 minutes into the game, he is already in split push mode, heading towards that Blade of the Ruined King. Because, I'll be honest, when it comes to putting people in a solo lane against him, nobody's really got that much damage when it comes to it. Take Fun would be an option, but, you know, you kind of want Fizz with the rest of your team for a lot of this. And, you know, it's just difficult to deal with this Jax from here.
You know, Pepper Nero really hasn't had the impact that he's wanted on this game. 0 and 5, he did assist on 2 of those kills that Frederick has currently, but they really need to be on Pepper Nero because he's the one who's going to be dishing out the damage when we get to these fights, and the Dragon may well be the catalyst for that.
I mean, normally he would be one of the people dealing a lot of damage, and he still does have a lot of damage in his kit with that Morella Nomicon and the Zhonya's, but he has been pushed back later and later into this game, so he's relying on a lot of charms right now out of the Ahri. You can see he does have some damage, but Reason have certainly made Pepper Nero's life a little bit tougher in this game.
So in this game, they do have Adri as their method of poke being from Giants this time. Celevo will be doing the same as the other AD carry. Now they drag the Dragon out of his pit. Can Giants do anything about this?
Well, Giants maybe going to look for it. In over the wall goes Frederick.
Frederick comes in. He gets the seal as well. He may go down here. He gets death sentence by Libic. There comes a Cataclysm as well, containing some of them in the pit. Chum the Waters doesn't hit anyone, but Kuban is chasing after now onto Rydell. He was the only person in range. Another death sentence will secure another kill. Double kill comes out for Take Fun, 2 and 0, but the Dragon went over to Giants.
Willie B is pushing as well at the top, but Frederick, nice timing into the Dragon pit as Zayu just really didn't have the timing down on that smite and let it go away. That's 1 Dragon apiece right now for both teams. And Willie B is going to have to back away. You couldn't get too much more from that, but you can see he's always a threat and didn't choose to teleport down to that fight either. You know, he just wanted to maybe see if he can push up further on that inhibitor.
Yeah, well, Giants now pick up their first Dragon of the game, taking that away from Reason, so put them in better shape. Won't be able to get that extra AD and AP, the percentage buff. 6% now on patch 4.21, which is the patch we are currently playing on here at the EU expansion tournament. And 6 to 15 kills is more deceptive than how the game's been going, because the towers are equal, the gold is only 3,000 gold ahead to the team of Reason Gaming. And yes, they would like more of it to be on Pepper Nero, but this game is far from being done.
They've got Take Fun on one of his comfortable champions, and you can see the effect it's having now compared to other games. Reason are ahead, and that is something that they really haven't been in most of the games here against Giants in either series. Giants have always been the ones out of the gate first, putting their authority on the game, and you know, Reason have got a decent composition for this point in the game. Fizz is pretty strong, so is Corki, and Maokai is good in team fights, but Whirly B is going to get better and better the later this game goes on, and you wonder who can deal with him.
True Shot Barrage into the bottom lane. We'll be clearing out the minion waves. Now fighting over Vision in this one. The 2 pink wards have come out from Reason Gaming in around the river area in the bottom for the Dragon, and now placing down a lot of aggressive wards, so they are trying to play the Vision game on top of that small advantage they've accrued over this game. So they're doing it by the book, but they do of course have to get something from those invested wards. Top lane Frederick now was trying to get maybe something done on Kuban, helping Whirly B push this one in. Both the top laners are equal on CS, but the person who's going to benefit most from it of course is Whirly B.
Yeah, Whirly B will benefit from it, and he'll take any kind of advantage like that he can. And especially now that he's got those Mercury treads as well, it makes him a little bit more tricky to lock down in those kind of situations. So it's kind of slowed a little bit here as Reason have their advantage, but they're looking for any kind of objective to take from this. Dragon is not up for a little while yet after that good steal out of Frederick. And Reason have got to find something here if they want to continue to press their lead, because they can't really let Whirly sit over in a lane on his own.
Yeah, so we criticized Giants for being kind of one-dimensional, and they've definitely stepped up, at least in the lanes that were definitely not Pepinero and Frederick, where they were basically the stars of the show. But Whirly has definitely turned up. Adri has turned up as well. Rido as well, specifically on Thresh. He's doing okay as Alistair, but definitely hasn't had the same impact as he has on that Thresh.
He's 0-5 right now, and Alistair is one of his supposedly good champions.
Yeah,
and
right.
We've seen it do a lot better than this, so maybe in the team fights he'll get better, but Pantheon Ultimate comes in.
Well, he secures the Raptor, but Warby maybe going down here. Here comes the culling as well. He'll be trying to get the kill onto Frederick, who comes in from the bot side. He'll go down as well. Not before he gets the Cataclysm. Contains Takefun and Celiva, delaying that damage. Now Pepinero has to use his Zhonya's right in the middle of the team. He gets locked down, and that's another 3-1 this time, so they do trade a kill. And what's that? There's a Whirly in the top lane again.
Yeah, but he hasn't been pushing quite fast enough, so somebody's going to be able to recall. It's actually going to be Takefun that's going to do it this early into the game, but just because of how strong Takefun is, he's actually going to go straight in on Whirly.
He has the Lich Bane here. We'll get the damage down with the Urchin Strike. Flashes straight in with the counter strike. However, the laser is pummeling down the damage. Takefun uses Zhonya's, flashes forward, gets the Urchin Strike down, and with the Spiteful Trickster as well. Sit down, Jax. Takefun is now in control of the top lane.
Yeah, Takefun is incredibly strong right now, and that is not enough for Whirly on his champion stat line. He has, of course, got that Blade of the Ruined King from a little bit earlier, but just really could not survive against Takefun and his tricks in that engage. And 7-1-4 is Takefun. This is a very different play style out of him than in the last couple of games. He's finally got himself on an assassin.
He has, and we can see the change that has made in Takefun. 7-1-4, performing just as well as he did on the Jace, if not better. This is one of his big champions, and he found the conditions were right for him to pick it in this game. And it's definitely been a worthwhile pick. Has the Zhonya's, has the Lich Bane as well.
And you remember this was a ban against Takefun in the very first game these two played against each other. Game 1 on Thursday, Fizz was the third ban out against Reason Gaming. So obviously Giants knew about it. They were aware. And Rift Scuttler goes over to Celiva by the looks of it. So they will secure the vision of that dragon hit. And yeah, you have to think that with Takefun having Fizz in his back pocket, Giants could have prepared for this a little bit better.
Maybe, but they did try and hit all the places that they tried to do with the ban. They actually placed another ban last game, or rather this game, at the Jace that was in the last game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So they did change it up slightly, despite getting ahead in that last game, picking up the first game of this best of 5 here, up against Reason Gaming. And remember, this is an LCS spot on the line. Sometimes easy to forget that, but both these teams, even in these slow parts, are thinking about everything they want to do, planning out methodically what they want to do through this game, because every decision matters. And there were a lot of decisions last game that were not quite on point.
Yeah, just a couple. In this game, though, a decision that has worked out very well for Reason has been putting Libic on Thresh. Taking it away from Rydell seems to have really hamstrung the Giants lineup here, and you can see 2, 0, and 10 on Libic will be securing the vision for this Dragon Pit. And this would be their second of the game if they get it. And, True Shot Barrage is going to come through.
Oh, very close, but Xayah will smite it away. He gets that one. So that will be the second Dragon of the game going over to Reason Gaming. Will he be in the top lane? Kuban saying nope. Arcane Shift. Arcane Smash, rather. Arcane Shift is on Adri in the bottom lane.
Man, that would be a completely
That would be
different...
frightening. Maokai with the Arcane Shift.
Whew, would not want to try and run away from that. But Frozen Heart has been completed onto Kuban as well. He's had that for a little while, just to slow down the Jax, slow down the Ezreal as well, just in any kind of situation. So they're itemizing pretty well, but we're 30 minutes into this game. It's going to take, well, Jax now having 2 items and the makings of a third. It's going to make him very difficult to deal with already. He's got the magic resist to deal with either Maokai or Fizz. Just depends on how much damage output Fizz can put if they put him in the 1v1.
Yeah, and so far he has the Merc Treads and the Spectre's Cowl, so he'll be mitigating a amount of damage from Take Fun if he goes toe-to-toe with him again. Now, Crest of Cinders goes over to Celiva here, taking down those Sindlings as well. And Libic moves into the mid lane. So this is definitely slowed again. We seem to have large amounts of action, and then in between just really slow parts. So it's dipping and diving through this game so far. But slower games absolutely benefit Whirly B. And taking a look at the bot lane as well. Adri's kind of gone for like a pseudo blue build. Has the Last Whisper and the Mirror Mana, but also with the Trinity Force as well, which he started off with.
Yeah, and he just got that Last Whisper as well. That's going to add to a lot of his damage right now. But you can see that the decision was made that Giants wanted to go somewhat towards the late game here, picking Jax, picking a better scaling Ezreal build that he's going to have damage later into the game. Puts a bit of a timer perhaps on Reason Gaming. That if they don't start to deal with Jax, if they don't start to deal with Ezreal, they could be in a lot of trouble here. So they need to be a little bit more proactive here. They've got a good lead, though, is what I will say. They've got a good few thousand gold in the bank over Giants, but they need to extend it. They need to continue to push here. And that's one of the problems with having this Fizz, is your pushing power is not quite as good as with other mid laners. You really just need to kind of get a pick, and that's what they're looking for in this bottom lane. And they don't think it's on for him.
Nah, Whirly B has gone back to the tower. Take Fun, dips and dives, heads onto the turret, gets a bit of harassment down with Urchin Strike, and of course the Lich Bane proc that goes with it. Pepanero comes into the bot lane with the rest of the team, flash into the pulverize, but immediately death sentence by Libic may put that engage on halt. Kuban now comes in from the top lane, teleports onto that minion. Now everyone is down here for the tea party, but now they may just back off because sieging is pretty hard with a team that only really has Corki's wave clear.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult right now, and you can see that Giants want to go, but they're being drawn forward out, and I believe you can see Zayu is looking for it.
Yeah, they brought them out onto open ground. Celiva goes down, and Pepanero takes him out. Libic was able to get the death sentence down, but the Kuban has dropped very low. Zhonya's will allow Whirly B to finish off his prey. Take Fun also goes into Zhonya's, but now he's surrounded by Giants. They drew them out into open ground, but Giants knew that they could win the fight. Frederick is after Zayu, though, flashes forward, gets to slow down, but doesn't have anyone really behind him and doesn't have the flag and drag, so this would be the longest chase of the century. But Whirly B does use his teleport to try and get in range. Zayu jukes upwards, and that will be the final nail in the coffin for Zayu. He goes down. 4-for-1 trade for Giants.
Giants just taking the fight. They knew they could win there, and the ultimate came out from Zayu perhaps a little bit after the beginning of that engage, and Giants just took what they could from that situation. Let's take another look as Giants got drawn forward. It looked like Reason perhaps were looking to turn on this, but the problem is Giants were already expecting it. Whirly B actually getting right onto Celiva, and the rest of the follow-up from the CC makes it very difficult for him to get out, and he got shut down in that engage. Zayu was a little bit late to the fight. Take Fun exhausted and alone in the middle of a good few Spaniards there, and picks up a double kill for Whirly B, and that is, again, another big nail, perhaps in Game 2 for Reason Gaming, because this Jax is now insanely strong.
And Take Fun was also very late to the party, because Zayu, not only did he use his Grand Skyfall late, but Take Fun was just hanging around in the mid lane, then came into the fight, and then Celiv got caught. So all of your damage is basically gone, going in drips and drabs into that fight. Has put them behind. Tower goes down in the mid lane, now 5 turrets to 3. So Giants are leading in this game again, but only by 1,000 gold.
Yeah, I mean, Giants are leading again. Another thing they've got going for them is as kind of tricky as Pepanero's laning phase was for him. He's had a lot of farms since, and he's now 272 CS, has a kill, and has a Rabadon's death cap as well. So he still has a lot of damage in his kit, regardless of how much pressure that Reason put on him very early on. Bit of a fight over the blue buff at this point, and Reason, I was about to say, maybe don't want to go for it unless they can hook Pepe.
Pepanero has been caught out here by the death sentence from Libic, who will be bringing Kuban back to him with the Dark Passage. Lands the charm. Here's the initiate from Frederick, though. He's dropping incredibly low. He doesn't have a Zhonya's to get out of this because Take Fun will eliminate him from the fight. He gets destroyed by that combo, and Calder Meek will be down, but so is Jarvan.
Yeah, Frederick just got chunked as soon as he went in for the engage there, and Reason umming and ahhing about maybe looking for something around Baron with the jungler being down, but Reason that this situation need to do something. They're going to back away though, which is one of the problems that they talked about. Is they kind of get something and then back away all the time, and that's not exactly what you'd want from a team on 421. You want to be proactive. You want to take anything you can and just make sure that at least at the very minimum you're getting control of the map. Which honestly, like they've left pink wards up, they've left wards because they haven't had the position to do it, and now Giants are going to go aggressive.
And Willie B takes down Lib because he's just trying to ward. He did land the death sentence onto him, but he is not the catch he was looking for. That was the deadliest catch. He did not want Willie B at all.
Somebody has been watching the National Geographic Channel.
Maybe.
Quite a lot. But that is the second dragon going over to both teams now. So Giants have 2, Reason have 2. This game isn't quite going to be the 5 dragon for Baron kind of trade that we saw in the last game of this series. This has been far more of a slower affair in some situations. Pepinero will pick up that blue buff for himself, and Jack's now looking for, by the looks of it, that Randuin's Omen as well. So very difficult for Reason. Somebody has to go and deal with him. They're going to have to commit multiple people at this point to deal with that Jax, and that leaves the rest of the team a little bit thin on the ground for Reason, that the rest of Giants could look to just push off it.
So, yeah, in that mid lane, Take Fun is now 9-2-4, so he does do a lot of damage. Sitting on 3 big items, plus the blasting 1, but Willie B has pretty much exclusively been itemizing Magic Resist up until now. He's now finished his Frozen Heart. Libic was inches away from death as that charm just flies in front of his nose. Quite happy that he didn't put another foot forwards. We'll be heading back here, now fighting over Vision, and Giants will clear out that ward.
Everyone was calling last game the game that wouldn't end. So there was a lot of back and forth. I saw about that on Twitter, but this could be a proactive measure.
Oh, Zayu comes in here with the Grand Skyfall. They take down the AD carry immediately, and Giants had to be on the back foot. Chum the Waters comes across. Now Whirly B is in the middle of the fight, but he needs a team behind him to make it worthwhile. Gets the Arcane Shift down. Will be pushing him up. Rather, the Twisted Advance to lock down Whirly B. Zayu just gets smited here and will take some damage. Frederick pokes him on the way out of this fight, but a 2-0. Reason Gaming have the numbers advantage.
Levick showing his skills with a flash backwards flay at that point, and Reason took an extra, well, took 2 kills from that at that point. Oh, Frederick.
Flash stun onto Frederick. The long range Twisted Advance from Kuban will lock him down, but Frederick over the wall says hi to his friends, the Raptors, who will just deal a little bit more damage to him. So that was almost precarious. He still had Cataclysm as well.
Yeah, Reason are turning though and looking towards the Baron because they know Frederick is very low. He had to go all the way back to the base, and perhaps it's Merry Christmas for Reason here as they're looking for a Baron buff 38 minutes into this game. Oh, charm on Take Fun.
Pepinero lands the charm on to Take Fun. He won't be vulnerable with that charm, with the ultimate, and the charge doesn't quite finish him off. Also gets shielded here, jumps into the Baron pit, but he gets locked down. In comes the Zhonya's. The Baron is incredibly low. That will be Fizz picking it up here, so Reason Gaming do secure the Baron, and Pepinero is in enemy territory. Federico, or rather Frederick, comes in with the Cataclysm. Will be locking everyone down, picks up the first kill onto Zayu, now falling onto Limit, gets the second. Kuban is also trapped in the middle of the team, gets the flag and drag, and Adri finds his triple for the fight. So they get the Baron, but have they lost too much for it?
It's a mirror of the last game. One team goes for it, the other picks up a whole bunch of kills. This time, though, Reason were able to secure it as they started off first. 2 members survived, I believe, from that Baron attempt, as Take Fun and Celiva will still have that Baron buff on them. But Giants are pushing from this, and they are getting good damage down onto the mid turret. They've also had Jax pushing in the bottom lane as well. And right now, Giants took quite a lot from that Baron.
They did, and now they can push down the middle inhibitor turret and the middle inhibitor turret itself. In the bottom lane, Whirly B is that split pushing threat. Take Fun is not strong enough to take him down as the Banshees comes up, trying to prowl away at him with that Seastone Trident. Celiva now coming in here, will be utilizing his counter-strike. Zayu slightly misplacing his ultimate, and the Chum the Waters does not land, so he's home safe and dry.
He just took on 2 members and took a Pantheon ultimate and just ran away, and there was nothing that Reason could do about that, and that is Take Fun, who is 9-2-5 in this game, and Whirly B just did not care pushing down that turret. Ezreal just using his ultimate to clear out some of that top wave of minions as well, just make sure that it's not pushing in towards them, kind of balance out their waves, try and get it slow pushing in.
Yeah, so Giants took a lot away from that. They are now 8 turrets compared to 3 here in this game with that Baron buff, but Adri can't get caught out here. Arcane shifts away. That is the right summon the spell, or rather the right spell. One day I'll get it right, Stress. One day.
It's okay, one day. Don't worry about it, buddy. But Saliva with that Baron buff has bestowed it onto the minions in that mid lane. And we'll let it go as well, because they don't want to push up on this one. But Whirly B wants to do some pushing. That is certain factor in this game. And Reason want to cut him off here. They do somewhat have him away from his base, but he's got a Banshee's Veil. That makes him very tricky to lock down.
Charm over the wall. Doesn't find Kuban, doesn't find the Scuttle Crab either. Take Fun coming in here. And the Sapling runs into the Crab, who will just carry on going. So 23 kills to 15 in this game. Reason Gaming, on paper, you would feel like is ahead at least in terms of kills, but all those towers going over to Giants have given them at advantage. Baron has now worn off, so they don't have any tactical advantage in terms of combat effectiveness. Rydell moving up here will be the scouting cow, putting down those extra wards, maintaining that vision. They have a pretty strong stranglehold over that jungle now from Reason Gaming. And Giants now push into the bottom inhibitor, completely wide open. How much or how many resources will Reason Gaming commit? They do have a fair amount of poke, Libic as well. Now that Death Sentence on cooldown may give Giants enough reason to head into this bottom inhibitor. Will he be slapping away at this turret?
You can see after the discussion our analysts had about the Mikhail's Crucible on the supports in the last game and how it was lacking. This time Giants have made sure they've picked one up. It means if Ezreal gets locked down, or if anybody indeed gets locked down on his team, they can just get straight away back into the fight. And that could be a big factor. We'll have to watch for where a lot of the crowd control comes out of Reason Gaming. And Frederick gets tagged by the Fizz ult, but that actually really didn't do too much considering the start that Take Fun had.
Pepper Nero uses his ultimate though. Here's the engage by Rydell, lands it onto 2 and on Frederick as well. Here comes the Cataclysm. Pepper Nero off to the side will be trying to do the damage onto Zai, who jumped into the back line. He'll be the first to fall. In fact, Frederick also dies here. Oh, knocked back from Kubot. He'll be going to the backside of the fight, and that'll be the support dying as well. Whirly B is unkillable by the team, but Take Fun now comes in, tries to assassinate them. He gets locked up by Rydell. A 3-for-1 here, and Giants are looking to close out this game.
Yeah, Giants should be able to close this one out from here. They do still have Adri alive. That's a lot of minions in front of the Nexus turret as well, and Rydell is just going to put the crowd control down, but Adri has been locked down a little bit.
He takes some damage, but he'll Arcane Shift into Saliva, almost takes him down as well. We'll go back to base, but Kuban is incredibly tanky. It may be enough to take down Adri here, but he'll take down the second Nexus turret. Rydell also off to the side, but is completely out of mana and indeed health. Pepper Nero, though, he's a one-man army, and now Saliva is in this 1 versus 2 situation. The rockets are raining down onto Rydell. We'll get the combo down, jumps out of the way of the Charm as well. Actually jukes it off to the side. There's another one-on-one here. Will Saliva come out ahead? No, he will not. Pepper Nero shuts him down for the ace, but now Zayu is up in 4 seconds, but the Nexus is already going down. Rydell was coming in with the auto attacks as well. Zayu will be able to take him out. No, he will not. That will be the second game now going to Giants in this best of 5.
And we've seen that little 1v1 at the end before. Last time it was an even trade. This time Pepper Nero will shut Saliva down at the end of that and make sure that they could close the Nexus for second game of this best of 5, going over to Giants. They are now 1 game away from the European LCS.
1 game away, and is looking very close to another 3-0 in this tournament. Can Reason Gaming make history, at least in this tournament, and actually take a game back? They were so close to doing it in game 1. Game 2, yes, they were even at least with their opponents, but it was kind of cut and dry when you saw the rest of the game.
I mean, Reason Gaming had the lead for a big majority of that game. It was only really when Giants really started getting Whirly B back into it, and it's another game for Giants where they've picked a Jax and it is working out for them, and Reason just don't seem to have an answer for it at all. They're not able to shut it down early like H2K were, and they need to either look to ban it or pick something that is going to absolutely demolish Whirly B in the laning phase.
But it always seems like Giants just have something else in their playbook. They always have just a little more. They always have an extra inch to throw out in the game, and we saw that in this game as well with that Fizz now coming into the game. 10-3-6 was his final scoreline. Did incredibly well for his team. Was able to shut down Whirly B as well as we got into the mid stage of the fight. But either way, guys, we're going to throw it over to the analyst desk here to see what they make of that game.
Thank you very much, Pulse. Well, another win here coming in for Giants. They are 2-0 up from the side of Reason. First game, well-rounded comp, good scaling. game 2, let's just camp mid and see how far we go. And honestly, it was the right strategy coming into this one because they got pretty far ahead early game.
I mean, yeah, they got super far ahead, and Xayo, the jungler of Reason Gaming, just decided to put up the biggest tent I've seen in LCS, so, like in the expansion tournament so far. And they killed him like 3 or 4 times. He was 0-4 on Ari, and he made like a couple of bad decisions because probably he didn't know what to do with like such a big deficit. That's the biggest problem of like inexperienced players. Once they fall behind, they don't tend to do like they forget like the most basic things, like how to position themselves in lane without flash. And yeah, it happens, but
how to buy a ward.
You gotta buy a ward. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and then in the end they just threw the game completely at like the bottom thing. And then
let's actually take a look at the replay, maybe to illustrate that. Let's get that up on the screen. Reason was pretty far ahead at this point. Fizz was pretty fed, and then they decide to group up on the bottom tower.
Well, no, this honestly looks like an instant replay of the first game when they had a lead and they were doing well. Selvar just, for some reason, he just doesn't care like what's in front of him, and he'll just like run straight at the team, and I don't know. You can play the replay, you'll see. But basically, the Fizz starts split pushing up to mid, and they see him on a ward. It's like, all right, they're split from the team. Like, now we can engage. And Selvar should be backing out here, but instead he's trying to auto-attack a Jax that has a stun on, and he just gets instantly popped. And now that your AD carry's gone and Fizz is in the team fight, you're just going to lose off that. Like, Fizz is going to come a little bit too late. He's going to just get exhausted and just get cleaned up off of this. And I think this is a really big turning point in the game. Even though they got that nice flank with the Maokai, and they ended up picking up the Baron, it didn't really matter because they ended up losing that team fight too.
They ended up not picking up the Baron, remember, because Giants came in as well. So actually, that was also kind of a turnaround situation from game 1 where the Giants gave up the Baron. Now they got it, and we got to talk about that Jax because he ran away with the game. They got into lane pretty even. No cheese, as we called it yesterday, but then he was able to get the advantage over Maokai and just push all the way in.
Yeah, I mean, he basically never used TP, so it was good and bad in the same thing because he was never there and his TP usage was bad, but at the same time he just pushed every single tower and got to the point where he can just one-on-one. And I think at the bottom tower, he was like, Fizz was engaging on him, and he just decided to take the tower from 1 to 0 and then got away with him while 3 people even collapsed on him. So at this point in the game, when Jax gets that far ahead, you actually have like a very big problem. And most of the time you can't deal with it because it's actually very advanced gameplay if you have a split push in the enemy team and you don't know what to do, you have to use teleport and just dive or 4-on-5 while the Jax is split pushing. And yeah, it's actually very hard to execute, but Maokai actually got it off, but it was not enough.
Giants did manage to pull this game out in the end. There should be some adaptations. Maybe this Thresh pick we saw was so big in game 1, and then Rydell got placed onto Alistar with some questionable engages and maybe even communication. He would sometimes just flash in and pulverize and maybe bait the team in a little bit.
I mean, he had some actually really good engages where he got a lot of multi-man knockups, but he looked a lot less comfortable in Alistar. And I think that the Thresh is going to be a really big priority in the next game. They was first rotated in both games, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it first picked or banned.
Take Fun here stepping up on Fizz, even though they lost the game. I think that mid matchup is always as well going to be super important because honestly we haven't seen the Pepinero that we've seen in the stages before they came to the offline portion here of the expansion tournament. And well, he'll need to step up, but it's pretty hard when they're camping you so hard, but you can't play a little bit careful.
It was good on Reason's part because they know that Xpepi is probably like the best player on the team, and then shutting down that star player of a team actually gives a lot of confidence. And if you know that the enemy star player is behind, you actually have like something to back it up. And I actually liked how they decided to just camp him in mid lane because, to be honest, Fizz is very weak in early game actually, but if you get that one kill, he can snowball completely out of control. And even if the Jax was fed, the Fizz can actually deal with him because Fizz is probably like the best AP scaling mid laner in the entire game. And the second he gets like 2, 3, 4 items, like every single item is such a huge power spike for him that it's very hard to deal with a Fizz who gets out of control. But yeah, I mean, we just saw
There's a better team fighting, to be honest. Like, just better positioning out of their AD carry, and
the Corki actually walked up to the Jax. Like, that was the biggest problem too in the bot lane fight, where Corki saw the Jax like using his E, the active, he just walked up to him and got stunned. And I was like,
well, he did the exact same thing in the first game.
Yeah, he did.
They're pushing in bottom. They just got the Baron. They're like, yeah, let's do it, boys. We're making the big play. And they just walked straight up and jousted him again and just died. So I don't know.
Yeah, Salver, definitely some aggressive things coming out. Not something we've used to seeing for him even that many times in the LCS last year, but definitely has to put in an adjustment there. How are you calling it for this game 3? Giants won game 1 even though they threw at Baron and they were able to pull it back, and now they pull back the game again. So
I'm gonna have to go Giants. I think they'll end up. I mean, you have to be on like mental tilt or something after both of those games. You had the lead in this game, and they ended up falling out and just losing the game. And even in the first game, they just picked up the Baron. They were making the nice plays, and then they ended up losing off that too. So if you just threw 2 games back to back, that can't be good. That can't be good for your team morale.
All right, well, we will see who can pick themselves back up. If it will be Giants who will close it out, or if it will be Reason coming back in the series. We'll be right back.